My name is Kelly Kennedy. I'm the director in the Office of College Programs. I oversee all the student clubs and organizations. I am also the assistant women's soccer coach. I am a graduate of F&M 2004 and came back and worked here, obviously. So I may interject my answers to any of the questions that you have, given that I was a student and now an employee here. But we hope that this session is just to answer, again, any questions that you may have as you've met with the deans and the dons earlier today. These 5 students up here, some of them are recent graduates, some of them are current students, are going to give you a little bit of their experience on campus, what they've been involved in, what they've achieved. I think you'll be awed by the sort of scope of what they do on campus and the coursework that they take care of. So, without further ado, I'm going to have them each introduce themselves and give us a little bit of what they are involved in, and then we'll open it up to questions. And then, if we see a lull, they'll offer you some advice. Yes, you're going to receive some advice from these wonderful students up at the front, and we'll just kind of go. It's very free flow, but you know, we'll kind of go with it. So. Here's Kaitlyn.
Hi everyone, I'm Kaitlyn Brust, a recent graduate. I double majored in English and philosophy and minored in Latin. On campus I played softball. I was the catcher for 4 years. I'm involved in the Brooks House Congress as well as the House Advising Program. I was an HA for 3 years, so it'll be a big transition not having that in my life anymore. I was an orientation planning director as well as a public service summer intern. Those were 2 different summer programs that I did over the past 2 years. I founded a club called the Interdisciplinary Advancement Club, of which my friend Sean is now the president. I am in a program called the Alumni Leaders of Tomorrow. I am a part of the Black Pyramid Senior Honors Society. You're elected, or I guess chosen during your junior year, and then you do some projects when you're a senior. Well, the big project that I took on was hosting a TEDx talk for Franklin and Marshall College this year. And those videos will be up soon if you want to watch them. Anything else? I also am a philosophy department writing tutor. We have the writings that are on campus, but then I worked specifically with philosophical writing because it's kind of its own breed. And then I also did 4 years of sports medicine assisting, so I was a student trainer in the athletic department as a work study. I did say softball. Yeah.
So I'm Sean Cosgrove. I play baseball here at Franklin and Marshall. I'm also involved in the greenhouse, so I'm the head greenhouse manager. I was the head greenhouse manager, and took a research position in a lab, which I'm working in over the summer. I was also an HA. I'm treasurer of Hardball, which is a club here on campus. I'm also president of IDAC. I'm in the honors fraternity for Latin. I'm also a Latin minor and a biochem major. And I'm part of a program called LACS, which you guys can ask about, which is success for life after college. And that's me.
My name is Giovanni Shepard. I am a rising junior. I am the treasurer of Impact, which is a club on campus. I am also the public relations chair for a club called IC. I was a housing advisor this past year, and orientation planning director last summer. I'm an international studies and American studies joint major. And I also work at the Chamber of Commerce downtown through the Ware Institute on campus.
Hello, everyone. My name is Maura. I am a recent graduate of F&M from Baltimore, Maryland. To start, I guess I'm from Bonchek College House. I was an HA there my sophomore year. I am in the co-ed a cappella group, the Poor Richards, which Kelly actually was a member of when she went here. So yeah, fun fact, right? I am in Chi Omega sorority. I was also a public service summer intern like Kaitlyn at the Fulton Theater downtown, so that's a summer internship where I worked there. I have worked as a tour guide for F&M ever since I got here, so maybe I recognize some of you. I studied abroad in London fall of my junior year, spent a whole semester there through a F&M study abroad program. Tour guide, I said that already. I was in a lot too. Alumni Leaders of Tomorrow. It's a great club there. They partner us with a member of the Alumni Association. So we learn how to be great F&M alum, which now I am. Oh yeah, and I'm an English major, specifically creative writing. So there's an English literature track or creative writing. It's just more writing intensive, and that's what I do. So I picked that one. And yeah, I think that about covers me. Zach was one of my freshmen when I was in HA, so this is fun for me to do this. There you go.
Hi, I'm Zach. I'm a rising senior. I'm in also Bonchek College House, obviously. I'm a business and music double major. I'm very involved in the music department here. I play cello and I sing. I'm in an orchestra and philharmonia, and I've taken private cello lessons and voice lessons during my time here as well. I'm also secretary of Mu Epsilon Sigma, which is the music honor society here. And I've recently received a grant to put on my own concert next semester, actually. So I'm going to be premiering one of my own pieces and conducting it along with 2 other pieces. So that's very exciting. Looking forward to that. Let me see. I also work on campus. I'm a tutor at the Writing Center. I'm also a tutor for quantitative methods, which is business statistics. And I've previously worked at Steinman College Center as an info desk worker, basically taking calls. If you call the college, like, they're the ones who pick up the phone, so that was me. Let me see what else. I've been involved in student government in the past. I was previously the president of the class of 2015 this past year, which was a really rewarding experience. And I also have sat on Bonchek House Congress in the past as well. I'm very involved in Greek life as well. I'm the president of my fraternity, Phi Kappa Psi. I was involved on the Interfraternity Council as chair of the Judicial Board, as well as secretary of Greek Council when that existed, which it does not anymore. Other than that, I played Ultimate Frisbee freshman year, which was really fun, but that's about it for me.
Okay, so any questions? Yeah, you know what? Even if you didn't ask that, that was the first go-to question. So the question over here was time management. How do you handle being involved in all of these things and being able to be an accomplished student in the classroom? So actually, since you are involved in so many, I will have each of you answer this if you are interested.
Well, I think that time management, at least for me, is something that comes kind of naturally, because the things that I've become involved in are things that I'm very committed to. It's not really a task to be at this program or that program or get my work done when they're things that you love. And part of being at a liberal arts college like F&M is finding your passions. It was very cheesy. It's not what I meant to do. But it does happen that students are doing things because they really like them. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. I think personally as an athlete, I found that getting up earlier, maybe, you know, getting a morning workout in or getting a workout in the day actually definitely helps your productivity. And just realizing that you can make time for pretty much anything if you work at it and you really do care about it, like Kaitlyn said. And I worked with a surgeon at Penn, and that was his big thing, is if you really love it, you can make time for it. So I think that's extremely important to keep in mind.
I think what both of them said is very true. For myself, though, I tend to plan my days very, like, at least 5 days in advance. I know that's kind of a lot of work, but that's what I do to manage my time. I build a schedule. I have reminders on my phone of what I have to do and when I have to be places and whatnot. So that's what helps me, at least.
Yeah, agreed. I was going to say, I make a lot of lists of tasks and things that need to happen. I have like a little piece of paper I'll carry around with me, work out for the week. That's just the method that worked for me these past few years. Also, the term white space, so you might have heard it a lot today, or you will probably hear it, or your son or daughters will definitely be hearing it, because it's a term F&M uses a lot. The white space is the stuff when you're not in class, the time that you have. And for me personally, lack of white space is a much more productive thing for myself. If I don't have a lot of free time, I know what I need to do with the free time when I have it. Which is get my work done, which is if I'm feeling stressed, watch a movie. Like, I know I have this white space I have only this much white space to designate, and I'm going to make the most of it, or else I can't take advantage of the things I've involved myself with that are taking up my white space that I want to be a part of. So yeah.
Yeah, kind of along with Maura, if I have too much white space, it's very dangerous for me at one time. So if I have a 3-hour block, I'm like, oh, I can afford to waste a half hour at the beginning, half hour at the end, ease my way into my work. And I've actually found during the last year that my white space has drastically decreased, because declared both of my majors at the end of last year before I was really very far into my coursework. So I've had to take about 6 classes, the last 2 semesters and probably next semester as well. So it's been filling up. I do a lot of my work on weekends, and kind of like what other people were saying, everything I'm doing I love, so like it's not an issue for me to be busy during most of the day with meetings, work, other things, because I'm enjoying it. It actually doesn't feel like an issue somehow, which is great.
Really simple. Google Calendar is an awesome thing, and you have Gmail, and it just makes life so much easier because it's very easy to forget little meetings, and you can set reminders. So I would definitely recommend that. That's helped me out tremendously.
And the other thing I would say is this is over the course of time. This is not a first year talking about the 10 things that they're involved in to the level that they're speaking about. So I think it requires an element of getting involved in something and then trying something else a different time. As well as I would also follow up on what some of them said. My players for my soccer team often say they're the most productive and the best achieving in season when they have the most demands on their time and they're able to really regulate their schedule. It's when you get free time that it becomes a little bit more complicated to hold yourself accountable. So where should first years look for on-campus jobs prior to getting here? We rolled out a new program last year where we assigned all the incoming first years that had work study as part of their financial aid package to departments. And the departments received them and were able to, it helped so that the student had to do less work. Because previously, they'd have to be going around to office to office to office, using the online databases. They can go to the F&M Connect. I think there's a space through the Office of Student and Postgraduate Development on their website where they can look to see what job descriptions are out there. My understanding is that they will be placed into a role. They can opt out of that role if they don't like it or if it's not for them at that time, but at least they will have the guaranteed employment on campus. And if they should have any questions, they'll get that in August, and then they'll be able to ask questions well before they get on campus. So able to handle that. Yes.
Fun. And also the upperclassmen aren't allowed to have multiple jobs for the beginning of each school year to ensure the transition goes a little bit smoother, and that way people actually get and keep the placements that they need, work study wise or just job opportunity wise in general. So that's just important to note too.
Yeah, I got my job through just kind of emailing and being proactive, so be as extremely proactive as possible, and somebody will point you in the right direction.
The question is about private music lessons and how one obtains them, and or is there a cost? So I'm handing this down to you guys.
So there's 2 types of private music lessons at F&M, non-credit and credit-based. So non-credit, as it sounds, there's no grade associated with it. It's much more, I guess, interest-based. It's not really, I mean, both are interest-based, but it's just a different thing. Those, I believe, I want to say are $600 per semester, but are eligible for financial aid. So you can get either full financial aid for those, or I received my freshman year when I was doing non-credit lessons half. So I paid $300 for a semester of private lessons. Credit-based private lessons are, it really depends on the studio. So for my cello lessons, my cello teacher's allotted 5 spots, or I think it's 6 at this point. And so if she has openings, then you can audition, or if you really just are proactive and reach out to her early enough, then you can get a spot in the studio. And that'll continue being the case for the rest of your time at F&M. For voice lessons are, I would say, by far the most popular lessons at F&M. And so there's an audition process for those at the beginning of every semester, really. And there's 2 different voice coaches. They'll take on a certain number of students, and students not taken on can take non-credit lessons. It's relatively easy, honestly, to get lessons, especially outside of voice. I would say that I don't really know anyone who's had a huge issue doing it if they're really passionate about it. Music majors and minors would always be able to get lessons. Most studios aren't full, so. Yeah, it really is a relatively simple process, and the music department really helps guide you through that.
Yeah, so the question was about transition and what advice or what information they might have for parents to deal with or help ease that transition. So I'm going to make it sort of the advice question as well if you feel that it pertains. Do you want to start? Or do you want me to? Okay, wonderful.
So being a house advisor for 3 years, I've seen 90 students sort of like come into college and deal with myriad problems and concerns and also joys. And I think that one thing that parents can do right away is meet the HA. It's really comforting to meet the person who is in charge of just like 8 to 10 students, keeping them accountable, and being held accountable herself or himself to do a good job. So that's actually, well, I'll be working here at F&M and working with the HAs this year to make sure that that program remains solid. And I think that another thing a new student can do is think about something they're really passionate about and go after that. Explore one thing, maybe not jump into too many things. As Kelly said, our time management thresholds have evolved over these 4 years. But getting involved and putting yourself in an opportunity where you can meet students who are interested in the same things can make a huge difference, especially if you're far from home.
Also, I think it's fair to realize that the college is not going to be pure success for every student, and everybody at this table has experienced failures, including, from academic to social to anything. And I think it's important to notice that in the grand scheme of things, it's how you work yourself out of those failures and how you work through those issues is the most important. And so, at least from my perspective with certain programs, they're going to be harsh, but they want to see you work through problems. And I think that would be the best advice I would give to a prospective student is just keep at it and stay focused.
Yeah, I came from California all the way to Pennsylvania for school. I frequently get asked why, right? But I mean, being that far from home, I mean, it was a rough adjustment at first, but one of the great things here was that there was a lot of people for me to reach out to and a lot of people for me to get acclimated, for being so far from home. So I mean, I have to agree with both of them in saying, like, I would give advice in terms of find something that you enjoy and start there, because if you do that enough times, you'll end up becoming comfortable. So that's the best thing I can say.
Some advice, I guess, for your side of things is just to remember, and I did this panel last year, so I'm like gaining advice as I do this. No news can sometimes be good news. Your child is probably going to become very busy or engaged, active, being with friends a lot, and forget to call or I don't know, send things home or anything like that. And that's usually a sign that things are going well, and that they're branching out, reaching out. So definitely good to stay connected, of course, but don't be alarmed if you haven't heard from us in a little while. And then I thought of something and it was really great and I totally lost it. Oh, I just remembered. I'm from an hour and a half away, so I'm sorry, I can't relate. But I remember my hardest days were move-in day and like the physical goodbye, and then the first time I got sick was just the worst. Well, I also, the first time I got sick, it was mono, so it was like, boom, I was bad. So I guess just if they, again, going back to no news is good news, but if your child reaches out or something's really bothering them, definitely knowing the HA is a great tip. Sending things in the mail. Everybody loves checking their mailbox. Just a little thing to remember. Getting to know your child's new friends. My parents became Facebook friends with my roommates and stuff pretty instantly. Definitely go over that with your child first before that happens. I was asked for permission and I said that's fine, and my roommate Athena said it was cool too. So, but just definitely run it by them if that's something you want to do. Maybe do that. It's just nice to know your friends and things like that. My friends are very close with my parents, and it's great because especially if you are from far away. I mean, I'm really close. My parents can come up for every little concert or thing, and I'm very lucky and fortunate, and I've really enjoyed that. But then afterwards, they take me and my roommates out to dinner, and we go, and it's brunch in the next morning kind of stuff. So. If you engage your child's friends too, that'll also keep you really connected and help you with the transition and their transition into this new lifestyle, I guess.
Yeah, I'm also from just an hour away, so it's nice. I have my parents come up for my concerts and things, and that's just incredible. I would say that one thing that I was nervous about that I really had no reason to be nervous about was transitioning into college. The transition it feels so easy, you know. You meet all the people in your hall, then you meet all the people in your house, and then you kind of meet people outside your house, but kind of don't as well, because there are so many other people like in the housing system that you're in. Like for me, there were so many people in Boncheck House that I didn't even get to meet people outside of there for so long because I was so interested in getting to know all of them. And you have these opportunities to become like a part of clubs. You can meet with two. I think there's a point where you meet with 2 clubs during orientation. They just give basically an info session, and that's really cool. Selecting those is actually kind of important because if there's something you're really interested in, then you have an opportunity to really throw yourself in immediately. I would say that for myself and other students, the point that you reach where you start getting homesick and you start feeling like you miss everything from your high school life comes not at the beginning, but more towards like end of October, November area, when like you are settled in and all that stuff, and you start to miss your friends from home and your family. And for a lot of you, that might be the time where your kids would love to see you, love to hear from you. So that's just a good thing to keep in mind, I think. But honestly, the more involved you get, the easier it really is to just immerse yourself in everything here and not have a difficult time. So, yeah.
I'm going to jump in and prop you up. So, inevitably, your child may not receive the grade they wanted and or expected. And I don't know if anybody has this in their background or experience. I could certainly speak about mine. But would you be able to talk about a time when you got a grade that was not so exciting and how you worked through that? What resources did you tap into? Gio and then Mara. You don't have to disclose percentages or anything. I'm just asking.
Well, my freshman year, I was sort of trying to figure out what I wanted to do in terms of classes. And I thought I wanted to be a government major until I took this particular class. And I received a grade that I wasn't really used to at all in high school. And so it was really hard for me at first because I'd been used to getting really good grades and all that kind of stuff. And the first thing I thought about doing was one of the reasons why I came here, which is for the professors, right? I sort of sat down with the professor and said, hey, what can I do to improve my standing in the class, and what kind of resources do I have to make sure that something like this doesn't happen again? And I met with a professor like on a weekly basis for the rest of the semester, and my grade ended up being what I wanted it to be in the first place. But I mean, yeah, you will receive, like she said, you will receive sometimes grades that you don't want, probably more than once, hopefully only once or twice, but it's going to happen. So I would say that at least for how I worked through it was meeting with the professor, sort of using all the resources available to me, whether that be tutoring or the writing center that we have here. All those things can really help out.
Yeah, and there's a lot of departments that have department-specific tutoring, like Kaitlyn said she was involved with, and you too. And that's when I received my grade. That was one of my greatest assets, because it was like, even if I didn't have a huge assignment coming up, it was just homework help. I took astronomy freshman year, not because I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do, because I knew I wasn't going to become an astrophysicist, but because I was like, why not? It'll be so fun. It was really fun. Don't get me wrong. Frony was a really great professor. He still sees me around campus and says hi, which is awesome. And it's probably because I was in his office 3 times a week. Every day he had office hours and checking to make sure that I did the homework right. And then I even had like the right page in the textbook and was doing the right, like stuff like that. I was so nervous after that first grade. And so it's amazing, like how you feel like you can totally shut down because of one bad grade, and you realize that like it's not like they did it on purpose, and it's not like you did it on purpose, and that people are going to be around to help you get out of it. And then don't be alarmed when we call crying and we're very, very upset about it, and just be encouraging, or remind us about the good grade we got last week, or the friend that we made, or something like that. That's what my mom did. I was like, I did badly on something, and she was like, I know, it's going to be okay, but like you've got rehearsal today. It's going to, like, everything will be fine. You can go to the library afterwards, like stuff like that. So just be there.
So I was a computer science major for my first year and a half here, which is very different than what I'm doing now. And I took computer science my first semester here. I really loved it. Kept going through, like my second semester. My third semester hit a wall completely. Really, not only like was I just really bad at it. I just wasn't really interested in it either. And I had been talking to the professor a lot, and finally just decided, you know what, if I don't like the third level, I'm certainly not going to like levels 4 through 8. So I'm gonna tap out while I can. But then I felt like I had kind of lost momentum. You know, I didn't really know where I was going with. You know, I didn't have another major like, you know, in my back pocket or anything. And so I kind of freaked out and emailed my academic advisor, who actually is now my advisor in the music department. And I was like, help, I don't know what to do. I can't do it. And he sends me this email back and he goes, hey, you know what? Come over for dinner. I live 2 blocks away. We'll discuss it. And I went over and he made me this incredible tofu dish. And we talked all about what I could do for my next 2.5 years. And it was awesome. The point being that like the professors are just so helpful in this kind of thing. Like reaching out to them can make all the difference in the world. It was really good tofu.
I think every student reaches a point in whatever they're majoring in that they start to question if they're really going to be successful in that major and if they're meant for that major. And mine was a similar story, but I'm still in that major where I hit a point later in my biological career as far as what I took, and I was just like, I don't know why I'm learning this, right? I thought it was interesting, but there was no application to it, and I sat down and I had a talk with my bio professor, and I actually ended up doing research for him, and it's super applicable now. It's based off cancer research, but if I hadn't had that conversation with my professor, I wouldn't be in the state and I wouldn't be telling the story now. So I think the take home is talk to your professor, but even beyond that, I think talk to your professor, but be prepared to answer questions about what you've been doing to, you know, to get over that bad grade or something like that. And also, I think another key point is just there are other students that you're not the only student that may find this material hard. Find those other students and help each other out. That's been the biggest help for me is studying in groups. It helps a lot.
And speaking to like the larger question of how do we deal with the smaller failures, I mean, especially for liberal arts students, I think that mastering the art of compartmentalization is really key. We do a lot of things and we have a lot of commitments, and there are different ways to fail and succeed in each of those sort of arenas of our lives. And what's lovely is if we are frustrated about a grade, we can enjoy the practice that we have later in the day and then be reset so that we can study and use our resources and not let that grade be determined, you know, in the long run. But everyone's right. Professors are extremely available. It's a part of the job requirement here, and also part of the joy of learning at a liberal arts college. And I think, yeah, it's really important to mention that like there is always a resolution to that kind of issue, and it's really easy to be bogged down by those speed bumps, and sometimes it can be more crippling than we'd want it to. And we look back and we realize there was like a too long a period of time when we were just suffering over things that we could have gotten over. Those are times when you can talk to your HAs, talk to upperclassmen, talk to your teammates, but have a conversation about it and figure out what you can do, because you're already at F&M, you know you can.
The follow-up I would have to all of their wonderful tidbits is you met the House Deans earlier. A wonderful resource, especially for first years coming in. They have a question about anything, they'll point them in the right direction. They work with the HAs that they've spoken about. They'll point you to the writing center. We have a lot of nets to catch people, right, when we fall. So we know that's going to happen, and we try to do our best to support everybody and make sure that they're successful on campus. So again, when you do get that call and they're freaking out, there are people that want to help on campus. They just need to get connected to them. We're not leaving them out to dry. The question was about post-graduation and what are your plans after graduating?
I just accepted my job today, so yay. So F&M has given me the opportunity to work as an alumni fellow. So I'll be doing 2 different sort of part-time positions. One is college house programming. Having been so heavily involved in the college houses, I have a lot of knowledge about how they work and how they could be improved, and how the HA program could be even more effective for guiding first years and for the HAs too, so that they gain some leadership skills as well. The other thing I'll be doing is running the F&M Works program, which is through the Ware Institute. Institute. So that's our civic engagement center on campus. And what happens is students are hired as interns and then hooked up with community partners and work for these nonprofits throughout the semester. So those are the two programs I'll be doing. But these postgraduate fellowships are for recent postgrads of F&M for like 1 or 2 years. So I'm really happy to have one.
I'm going home. I'm just gonna chill for a while. This semester was awesome. I wanted to live every second of it up that I could. I had my a big part of the English major is the senior thesis capstone, so I spent a lot of my time working on that, and the job thing kind of went on the wayside. So I'm going to take a week, maybe not even, and then jump kind of back into that. And luckily, I have the ability to do that. But for right now, I'm going to be going home, working with the Office of Student Postgraduate Development. They've given me already a couple connections of alumni to connect with, talk about stuff, and email out. I've got a couple things in the works, but nothing that I should really share because it's not anything real yet. But I'm feeling pretty good. F&M's done a lot for me by way of internship and job preparation, and I'm very fortunate in that, and I got a lot of business cards in my wallet, so I just had the time to actually look at all of them.
The question was about career services and what opportunities they have on campus, job fairs and the like. Our career services office is called the Office of Student and Postgraduate Development, and that's what Mara was just referring to. They do have an advisor per each house, and they stay with you over the course of your time here, but I didn't know if you wanted to speak to any other resources they have. I can pick up where you leave off.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so you get assigned an advisor based on what college house you are in, and you work with them throughout the whole thing, unless you have a certain career specific thing in mind. So there's actually someone that works there who's really informed about teaching careers and opportunities. So when I was interested in Teach for America and other kinds of AmeriCorps programs, stuff like that, I was working with Lori about all those kinds of resources. And then there's someone that's kind of pre-law focused, grad school, med school kind of focused, so you can talk with them, because that's a completely different kind of application process and stuff than maybe most jobs. There are grad school fairs on campus, job fairs. Recruiters come to campus very frequently. The office is near the admissions house. It's one of those other little houses that's across the street a ways, right across the football field, actually. That's why I keep pointing that way. Yeah, my advisor, they go over resumes. That's been my real big thing with the Office of Student Postgraduate Development. I had no idea how to write a cover letter at all, and I was so embarrassed as an English major not knowing how to write something. So they have all these sample ones and for job specific. So they had one for if you're applying for a sciencey kind of focused thing, a cover letter that would be more applicable for that, or something else. And they'll help you edit. I didn't know, I used the same word multiple times in my resume, and they were like, that's a big no-no. Also, same font. I'm really just getting into this whole professional world thing. I had no idea the whole thing had to be the same font. I know, I'm so sorry. I'm revealing a lot here, but so they are very guiding hands when it came to that. And yeah, they help with internship placement a lot. I have a bunch of friends who just got internships through the college experience, summer of sophomore or junior year, and then they found job placement now that they are graduates in a lot of those same places that the Office of Student and Postgraduate Development placed them in. So it's a great office. It's been totally revamped, so it's completely on the up and up. And I mean, I've been here for career services and Office of Student Postgraduate Development, and I've noticed a total change in it and its success. So yeah, lots of options. You just have to be willing to walk across the street and go find them.
So I'm part of the LACS program, which is a program you apply to. It's Life After College Success Program. It's a program you apply to, I believe at the end of that was the end of my sophomore year that I applied to. This program essentially puts you in contact with numerous alumni in different, in different jobs, and it's very useful. They have a dinner about 3 or 4 times. 3 or 4 times a week, or excuse me, a month, and you go to the dinner, you dine with the alumni, they give a little speech, and then you can kind of ask probing questions about the industry and how to get into the industry, and it sets you up for making connections later on that I've used to both talk to pharmaceutical companies and other companies interested in biotech.
And that is also through the Office of Student and Postgraduate Development. And they have a few different leadership programs as well. The Harvard Leadership Group is something I work with. It combines athletes and non-athletes and works on the values together. So yeah, we're pretty much at the end of our time here today. If anybody has any individual questions, please feel free to come up and ask us. We have a break before our next one. But thank you so much for sharing your time, and I hope you have a good rest of your day.